Hi guys, I decided that I was going to talk about periods today, and I'm just going to go straight in there and say to you the reason that I actually decided to do this video was because I just thought, the fact that I'm on my period is one of the things that I thought, but also like the fact that when I think about periods, like obviously at the moment I don't really think anything of them, like they're just part of my life, they're not really actually that much hassle for me, you just deal with it and you get on with it. But actually when I was looking at the ages of some of you guys, I was like, oh my god, they're so young, like what issues would they have like at the age of like 10, you know, some of my viewers are like 10 years old. So I decided that when I thought about being 10, I thought about what was like going on in my life when I was 10, and it wasn't really like anything to do with boys or anything like that. Periods were my biggest issue when I was 10 years old, and my period story is, I can't believe I'm even talking about this, but this is something I'm really not very embarrassed about. And when I spoke to my boyfriend about doing this video, he was like, oh, aren't you going to be a bit worried that people you know are going to watch this? And I was like, well, no, because if they're male, then they might think it's a bit strange and they might not want to listen because they think it's disgusting, but that's just because they don't understand it. And if they're female, the chances are, if they're young, they're probably going to want to watch this video. And so basically, when I was 10 years old, as an Indian girl, my parents never talked to me about periods or sex or boys or anything. And I think they kind of thought it was part of the school's responsibility to like teach me all of this stuff. So you can imagine that when I'm at school, I'm 10 years old, and suddenly we get this letter from the school, and to give home to our parents for a signature, for like permission. And I'm looking at this letter and I'm thinking, we're going to speak to your daughter about periods, blah blah. Please sign this consent form. And there's me going, I don't know what one of those is. Like, what are we going to talk about? And then all the other little girls in my class are all going, oh my god, they're going to talk about periods. And I'm like, I must be really stupid, but I don't know what one of these is. So I'm 10 years old, my mum signs the form, and she doesn't actually tell me what a period is, because again, being Indian, she thinks it's the school's responsibility to teach me this stuff. So I'm sitting there, listening to the teacher, this like really strict teacher that I felt uncomfortable around anyway, talking about how my vagina was going to bleed every month for like a week. And I just remember thinking, oh no, that won't happen to me. Like, they'll find a cure before I'm like 12 years old. Like, no, that's not going to happen to me. It'll be fine. And then she kind of almost made it sound fun, because she was like, and you can use these and you can use these. And she started pulling out all these colourful things that obviously now when I look back on it, I think they must have been tampons. But I remember I was thinking, oh, they look kind of fun. Like, well, what are those? So basically, and I remember thinking, yeah, it's not going to happen to me. They'll find a cure for it. It'll be fine. And then when I was 12, bam, it hit me. And I have to say, like, for the first couple of years, my periods were never really regular. So I might get like 2 or 3 in a year. But something I did mention to my GP, and she said, oh, it can take up to 5 years before you become like regular and stuff. So I remember thinking like nothing of it. And for the first few years, I just use sanitary towels. So basically, this is how you deal with your period. What I tend to find is at the beginning of my period, so the first couple of days, and I can't believe I'm saying my, because I reckon it's the same for everyone, but first couple of days of the period are generally the heaviest days, and then it kind of like tails off for me. So I would say to make your period as like hassle-free and stress-free, you just need to know exactly what you can use, exactly what you can do about it, and exactly how you can like resolve stuff. Don't ever be embarrassed about a period, because like seriously, they wouldn't, I don't know, I can't emphasise that enough. Like, it's completely and utterly normal. Like, it really is. And if you say to your PE teacher at school, I'm sorry, I can't go swimming, I'm on my period, like, it's really not a big deal. Like, don't be embarrassed to say it, because it's something that happens to every single female in the world at some point. So if you say it to your school teacher, like, really embarrassed about it, she's not actually going to care. She's just going to go, oh, okay, that's fine, don't worry about it. And I have to say, for the first few years, I just use sanitary towels. And I have to say, that was kind of the worst few years of my entire life. And the reason I'm saying that is because when you're somewhere between the age of 12 and 16, you're self-conscious anyway because you've got like pimples and stuff like that. The last thing you want to be doing is leaking in your pants. And everybody leaks at some point. Like, everyone leaks either in their bed or on their clothes or on their pants or something. And I'm not like saying it just to be disgusting, but I'm sorry, but every single girl has leaked at some point somewhere. And honestly, it's so not anything to be embarrassed about. So there are a couple of like little tips and things that I can give you that I think will just make your period less of like a horrible time of the month. Because honestly, I don't think about my period anymore. Like, sometimes I even forget that I'm on. So the first thing, you tend to feel generally a little bit icky down there anyway, because like I tend to feel that when I'm going to bed, like I get really hot and I get really uncomfortable. So one thing I did go out and get was actually a deodorant for down there, and it's just called Feminine Intimate Deodorant, a delicate fragrance deodorant for freshness, comfort and hygiene. And it's just, I tend to just use it at that time of the month when I kind of go to the toilet. I leave it in my bathroom, and then if I know I'm going to bed or something, I've just had a shower, I'll just spray this down here, and it's just, it doesn't irritate or anything, it just makes you feel a little bit less icky down there. The other thing I would normally suggest, again, this is just for kind of embarrassment's sake, because again, it was one of those things, if you were staying at a friend's or something like that, and you were like, I'm sorry, this video is really rambly, but there's just so much information I want to get out there. If you're staying at like a friend's house or something and you're on your period, I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, it's the end of the world, I can't stay at my friend's house because I'm on my period. But honestly, like, you can just buy these little bags, like plastic bags that look like this. And if you're worried that someone's going to see your sanitary towel in the bin, you can buy these little bags and then they tie up. You put your sanitary towel in there and then you put it in the bin, and no one's going to see it, no one's going to look at it, it's not going to accidentally open by accident, because that is one thing that I used to be really scared of. It was just going to unravel itself and everyone was going to see the little treat on there. So basically, those little bags that you can just buy in the same section, and actually some sanitary towels come with a little bag attached to it. The other thing I do suggest is, and again, this is just so that you don't feel so icky down there, is these wipes. So you can actually buy moist wipes for down there, and again, they don't irritate, they don't smell of anything, they just clean up the area, because again, things go places, and no matter how many showers you have, even if you just get out the shower and you're on your period, you still feel a little bit like, oh my god, if I don't shove something up there to block it, everything's just going to come out and it's just going to be horrible. And so these I kind of leave in my bathroom as well, which is just like moist wipes. They're like literally like moist wipes, and you can just wipe the area down there after you've gone to the toilet or change your tampon or whatever like that. So basically I use those as well, again, just to keep the area icky. Less icky. Okay, so basically, you can use, most girls when they first start their period will use a sanitary towel. So a sanitary towel basically is just a lady form of a nappy. So as you open it, it kind of looks like that. I always, this is like my biggest tip, never get the ones without the wings, okay? So you always need the little wingies. So as I pull that down, you can see that it's got these little wings attached to it. And those little wings hide under your underwear, so you fold them around the underwear, and so the wing doesn't move around everywhere. Because if you do not use the wings, these bad boys, it will stop you leaking everywhere. And so basically, these wingy things are like the most important things. And you can get like different absorbencies of wings. So you can get like really thick ones that are like proper protection, that kind of feel like you're walking around with a nappy, or you can get like these slightly thinner ones that you have to just change like every few hours or something, depending on what your flow is like, to be honest. But at the beginning you tend to have to change them more than kind of later on. I have to say, the thing that makes my period as hassle-free as possible are tampons, okay? So, and again, it took me absolutely ages to use a tampon, because I used to get so nervous, I used to tense up, and it just wouldn't go up there. So, I discovered the reason that they weren't working is because I was using these shitty ones. Basically, do not use these ones, okay? So, I know they've got applicators on them. Do not use these friggin' cardboard applicators, because there is so much friction, it just does not go up there. So if you've like come out of the shower and everything's clean down there, and you're, you know, like everything's all clean and stuff like that. You try to stick one of these bad boys inside you, I'm sorry, the friction is just too much and it actually does start to hurt. So one tampon that I would definitely suggest that everybody goes out and gets, because they just slide in, you don't have to worry about them, is these Tampax Compact, which I'm pretty sure you can get in like every single country, because it always has loads of random languages written on the back of the packaging. So it kind of looks like sweets, and they're kind of small. I tend to put mine in these little cases, which I think you must be able to buy from places. This is just so that if I'm at work, I can stick them in my handbag and they don't accidentally fall out and like, but again, I don't tend to get embarrassed about stuff like that. So basically, this is what my tampon looks like, and these are the ones I definitely would recommend that you use. So you've got like completely smooth applicator there, and it's made of plastic, so no friction. Okay, so plastic, so you pull the plastic bit out until it clicks. This is your vag, so it goes up, actually let me do it that way so you guys can see what I'm doing. So it goes inside like that, and then all you have to do is push this bit inside and the tampon just slides inside, and then you just kind of release that, and that's pretty much how it works. So basically, because this is nice and smooth, it basically goes in every single time. You don't need to stress, you don't just sit there, you don't have to hold everything wide apart and, you know, try it like 16 times. And, you know, I had so many issues when I used these cardboard ones, and I wish that somebody had told me about the compact. But to be honest, I think the compact ones only came out in the last few years. The other one I think is really good to use is the Tampax Pearl, because again, it's got a nice plastic applicator and it just goes in easily, like for first time users. You get different absorbencies with these, so you've got like purple ones which are really light ones, you've got these ones which are like regular, and then you've got green ones as well which are like for heavy flows, which I use in a couple of days. These you can keep in, I'd say, for about 6 hours, so basically, you know, a good quarter of the day, so you're only having to change them. I mean, to be honest, I am a little bit paranoid in the sense of leakages and things like that, because you don't know if you're going to have a particularly heavy day and you just haven't had a chance to like run to the bathroom to check or something. I tend to put panty liners in when I'm using a sanitary towel, and it's just a really slim, like really slim pad with no wings on it. You can buy them with wings, I think. A really slim pad just to go in while I'm wearing a tampon, so that I don't need to kind of worry about stuff. You can get V-shaped ones of these, so if you're wearing like a thong or a G-string or something, you can also use them with that, which are really great if you're going clubbing and you just don't want to get all sweaty Betty down there and be wearing like a sanitary towel with a pad, you know, because at the beginning I did wear both because I was like, okay, extra protection, not going to leak anywhere. But actually, if you wear a tampon, you just need one of these slim things. I was kind of thinking about doing like a part 2 of this video, but based on whether you guys put any questions in the bottom bit. So if you guys give me any questions about periods, how I deal with it, you know, like any random questions that you just don't want to ask your mum or your sister, please ask me, because honestly I don't really get embarrassed about it. You know, it does smell, you do leak, you are going to leak in the bed occasionally, and yes, I have been through all of those things before where I just go, oh my god, like how do I deal with it? And now, like I said, now I'm 28 years old, I don't even think about my period and I don't have any issues with it, and I use a hot water bottle when it gets a bit uncomfortable. I take paracetamol if I need to, and that's pretty much how I get through my period. And I do kind of I am one of those people that gets quite emotional on their period, and my boyfriend would probably argue that I'm an absolute cow, but I just think I get a bit emotional and I take everything a lot worse than it actually is. I just tend to exaggerate everything. So I know it's been a really rambly video, but it's just loads of stuff I wanted to get in there. And like I said, don't be embarrassed about your periods, because you know, stuff happens with girls, and the chances are if you say something embarrassing about your period, chances are it's happened to somebody else as well. They just won't talk about it like I will. So I don't really have anything else to say about periods. If I think of anything, like I said, if you guys can think of any questions about periods, or you just want to ask me something about periods or anything like that, I will do a part 2 if I get more questions. If not, I can just respond to your comments if it's like a quick answer. But if you want me to talk about anything, then I really don't care, and I will. And it's like, do you know what, like I just come back from a wedding and it's like 12:30 and I can't believe I'm still awake. So I'm actually going to get myself to bed, and I will see you guys very soon. I keep doing that. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm going to go to bed now.